Hello everyone, hope you're doing well and hope you had a great weekend. I have a special background up here today. Sadly, the serpent and dinosaur heads are slightly cut off right here, but we'll make the best of it. And I'll talk about who is behind me in a second. I'm launching straight into the introduction of Charisma, Seminar 3 for English 431 World Mythology class. Here's my little bit to introduce the content today, and then I'll show you a few treats, and we will take a quick break after this intro as usual, then launch into the material. In Seminar 2, we considered how character performance invites metamorphosis through paradox, and how paradox is intrinsic to mythological storytelling. We looked at how ritualistic and iconographic objects, like masks, create alternative magical spaces for ceremony, evoking sacred links between the mundane world and the cosmos. Now, if we know that paradox is central to mythic storytelling, the question becomes, how is it created? Today we'll consider charisma and how it evokes epiphany, to see how performance can become charged, embodied, and transformative. Charismatic effects, scholar C. Stephen Yeager claims, can be produced through enchantment, aspiration, and mimesis, in that order. We'll look at Yeager's stages of enchantment, and then how through surrogacy, humans and deities elevate themselves into idols, and totemic objects can become iconic representations of those idols. And finally, to return to a different keyword, transgression. How is charisma as a medium inherently transgressive, and how can understanding charisma enrich our readings of mythology? That's what I'm mulling over with you today, and this is based on our assigned reading of chapters 1 and 2 from the Yeager text. The book is called Enchantment on Charisma and the Sublime in the Arts of the West. So it's an art history book basically, but he talks about persona and paradox through the discussion of how people and things become enchanted and charismatic. He begins talking about religious iconography in this book and moves into all the way through into contemporary art for those who are interested in what you read and want to see if you'd like to read the whole book. I recommend it. It's really cool. What we're looking at behind us is a linotype. It's a woodcut by an artist named Badger Bates. He's a Torres Strait Islander, and the Torres Strait Islanders are different tribal groups than Aboriginal Australians. The Torres Straits are a set of islands off the coast of Australia. So Badger Bates is apparently, he says, a member of the Pakhantji tribe, and he's of the people of the Darling River in the Torres Strait Canals, Paka. And this piece is pulled from a Victoria, BC website, really lovely. I can post the link for you, about diversity in Aboriginal culture and teaching about all the different groups within Aboriginal culture, as well as differentiating those who are often grouped in with Aboriginal culture but are actually identify as different peoples. Issues of immigration and emigration, land and ecology. It's really quite an interesting website and lots of artwork. So this piece is a print called Ngati, Rainbow Serpent, Embracing Plesiosaur. So you'll see here that we have a rainbow serpent here. Let me put my hand closer. Rainbow serpent. Wow, playing with zoom here. A rainbow serpent entwined with the plesiosaur, the water animal. And you'd have the rainbow going over the water and the sun coming up after a storm. There's the storm clearing, right? Here's what he says about this piece. In this line of print, the plesiosaur is the past and the Ngati is the future. The Ngati went through the area and laid around our white cliffs, where they found a plesiosaur made out of opal. To us, Pakanyi people, the plesiosaur, is the same as Ngai. You should leave it alone. We were told that opal was left by the Ngai and that it is sacred. I know today that opal is valuable, but if us Pakanyi people went to Scotland and seen the Loch Ness monster, we'd say it is a Ngai and we would respect it and leave it alone. If you look up at the top where Ngai swims with the flow of the water, that's today. But the water is disappearing, and the Ngai and Pakanyi people are very brokenhearted. Ngai blew the rainbow over the top of the sun. When the two heads came together, that stands for reconciliation, as the past and the present and the future all come together. So I wore today, we have the rainbow serpent in the background, and I put on a Navajo Thunderbird. It's made with inlay of teeny tiny turquoise chips and coral chips. Thunderbird, probably a lot of you have seen imagery of Thunderbird, and Thunderbird is across Native American iconography across the country, especially Navajo, and he represents power, strength, the lightning, the thunder, right? The storm that destroys and recreates, destruction and reconstruction. Thunderbird has lots of different stories and actions, like Coyote as a trickster. But Thunderbird can apparently, sometimes you'll see in Pacific Northwest depictions, Thunderbird sometimes has a mask that opens up. So he has more than one face. He has multiple personae. Thunderbird brings storm and destruction, but also after the storm, rainbow deities often come in. Rainbow serpents across the globe make their way in, and the sun parts the cloudy sky, rainbows come, and things grow and evolve. So rainbow serpents, while this is a Torres Strait Islanders rendition of one, pretty much exist in most mythologies that I've read. There are rainbow serpents everywhere, especially in Navajo. If you want to continue studying the Thunderbird, I recommend reading about Rainbow Yay to YEI, excuse me. Rainbow yays are all over, and you'll see them in sand paintings, you'll see them adorning murals and sacred areas, and they're super awesome. You should check out Rainbow Yay. So these creatures are charismatic. These creatures, animals, they're not only, they are us. They're past, present, and future. They are one with us, right? But they're also representations of our actions, and they are autonomous. They're paradoxical, right? They represent our desires, our aspirations, our fears, and they also predict and they direct us. So these are charismatic, these are examples of charismatic characters in mythology, and I'll be talking more about that in a few minutes. So once again, I recommend turning this introduction off, pull up your PDFs for the talk. I'll be working through the notes. You're just outlining chapters 1 and 2 that I assigned you to read prior to this, and then tune back into part 2, and we'll get right to it. Okay, thanks. Talk to you in a minute. Bye.